sorry, I didn't understand.
Να ρωτήσω κάτι, υπάρχουν οι αφισούλες για το... Έβγαλα τις δύο που είναι από το προηγούμενο πάνελ, υπάρχει κάτι που...
Όχι, αυτό μας το έφεραν
Εντάξει,
προηγούμενο.
ωραία.
You wanna type it? Yeah.
Σε είδα και λέω θα πάω να συστηθώ γιατί ήθελα πάρα πολύ. Ναι, σε πια δεν γνωρίζω. Ναι, 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 ναι. Θα τα ξαναπούμε κατά τη διάρκεια.
So we are not going to use it, but I would like to, ¿cómo se hace eso de
So we
ampliar
can,
la pantalla de...?
we can start.
Vale, no. Tengo ampliar lo que sería solo esto.
Ναι. Αυτό είναι, οκ.
Hello.
So,
Shall we begin?
ναι. Ναι, ωραία. Good morning, everyone. We are here to discuss translation programs as means for the promotion of national literatures. And together with me, we have Haris Meletiadis from Greece, Marife Boa Garcia from Germany, Martin Krafel from Czech Republic, Ilvi Live from Estonia, and Julia Florit Juan from Catalonia. A few words about NLIT. The European Network for Literary Translation is a network of non-profit organizations which invest in literary translation support programs to give the literatures of Europe internationally and in their respective countries or regions. NLIT brings together 32 organizations from 28 countries and regions. While each organization focuses on promoting literature and authors from its own region, the collective momentum behind NLIT is meant to build awareness of international literature on a larger scale. So we will have a first round of questions and a discussion. Let's start with the question of how can translation grants programs contribute to the promotion of national literatures? What are the criteria that can best guide us in deciding which literary works to promote and translate? What about the quality of translations and its monitoring? Should such assessment be part of our programs as well? Should our role also extend to issues such as the subsequent promotions by publishers, sales figures, or even critical reception as part of a successful translation grant strategy? The stage is yours.
Καλή σας μέρα και από μένα, από το
Good morning from me as well, from the Greek Cultural Center. I'm Haralabos Meletiadis, a professor in Pantheon University. Can you hear me? I will be a little bit louder. So, I am a member of the Administration Council of the Greek Cultural Institute and a member of the NLIT committee. Our goal is not to be a legal entity, but to give some advice regarding the production of translation from our country abroad towards any language. We don't have any specific orientation, but we want to bring the Greek production in every country. So, this is how we work. I would like to explain to you if you want to submit any applications. We have an important bureaucratic part. We have meetings 3 times a year. You can find the deadlines in NLIT website, we evaluate each application in base of two criteria. First of all, we have a complete translation, and in the second part we have a sample of translation so that we can evaluate furthermore in the future a complete translation. The difficulties we are facing, or I would rather begin about what is easy. Anyone can apply to us, an editor or a translator. This is the first part, the easy part. The second part is that we need to find the editor that will publish this work abroad. So many issues arise here regarding the local markets of the book. For example, how many foreign works can be absorbed by the Polish market of books. It's not the same number as in Estonia, for example. These are some issues that we are facing. The third issue is that the control mechanisms we have for translations into some more exotic languages are far more complex, and this is a little bit difficult. The fourth point regards the difficulty that Greek editors face regarding synergies, the Greek publishers with their counterparts abroad, so that there will be a flux of the copyrights from one country to another. And this means that the translator and the foreign publisher have to carry out the whole work. The last thing I would like to say, and I will finish here, is that the bureaucracy that you can face when you apply, and it regards money that we grant. There are some money that haven't been disbursed yet. And this has created some issues in the past. We are trying to face this and to find a solution. This is not a problem that derives from us, as you can understand, but we have to make some things right so that we can bring our books from Greece abroad. Thank you very much.
Yes, hello. My name is Marife Boix Garcia, and I'm not one of these institutions that support translations, but I'm working for the Frankfurt Book Fair, and actually I guess the biggest translation funding programs, or the biggest amounts of money invested in the support of translations are prepared in the moment when a country is guest of honor in Frankfurt. And I think that NLIT was founded in 2016, if I'm not wrong, and it was during the Frankfurt Book Fair with one and the other institution that had been guest of honor before. So I'm happy to meet many colleagues here from this guest of honor organizations and countries, and yeah. And I will talk on behalf of my experience as a representative of the Frankfurt Book Fair. we support other things. For example, we have an invitation program for independent publishers, and translation funding is one of the criteria to buy or to sell books or rights of books much more easily to foreign publishers, because foreign publishers take the risk to print that book, to sell that book in their country. And of course they know their readership, so one of the criteria would need to be to know the local market, to know if the content of the book is transferable, is interesting to the public there. And then it's very big. It's a very big incentive if there is a translation funding program in the moment when you decide to buy rights, and talking to another publisher or to an agent who is representing an author, and so on. So this is, I think, one of the most important issues, this incentive in the matter of buying and selling rights. Of course, it's not the only thing that should be done, because you need also to support probably the trip of an author when the book is published. This will help to sell the book in the foreign country, and probably this will bring more interest for the author or for the publisher, and more successful negotiations after this first experience with a foreign author. But I think I will pass on, because if we respond every 4 questions directly, then we won't have a conversation as we should. So I give over to my colleague, Martin.
Kalimera, good morning, nice to see you here. So I'm Martin, I'm from the Czech Republic, and I wouldn't repeat now what we can do for all publishers, interpreters, etc. Maybe I will be more concentrated on your questions, because I think they are really interesting. You know, I think it's quite clear that if you are going to be a guest of honor, like Czechia, like Czech Republic 2019, in Leipzig 2021, in Warsaw, and 2026 in Frankfurt. This is for us an honor, but also a scary thing. I'm really, like somebody who's working on it can say that. So for us it's really important to the visibility, you know? And Greek and Greece, we are talking about a big territoria. So I don't know if you know how big is Czechia, how small it is actually, and we have a small language, and that's the problem. So we have to do those grants, because without the grants, the small and independent publishers wouldn't work with us. Because even if we think we have good authors and we have good stories, and this is what is it about, yeah? The book market is about good stories in a written form, or maybe in an audio form. So we need to support them. We have the experience that by the new names, the publishers say to us, but no more than 150 pages, you know? And we think, well, it couldn't be the criteria, come on. So for us, it's really important to use those grants for those special things, because we believe that the big publishing houses don't need 70% of costs to get back. But with the big publishing houses, we are interested to do the promotion of the new books. So we really divide the strategy to the 2 ways. I think that the criteria, what we should support, is very different if you think about the countries we are supporting, but we always try to support books where we believe that the topic could be understandable for the audience, for the readers of the country, of the language. In other words, we believe that if we support some translation in Greek, that Greek people will understand the topic of the book. And it means there is no necessary the direct line to support only the bestsellers. You know, this is sometimes what the people think. No, this is not the way. We support the books with the good topics and also awarded books, because we think that an award book is something special. It's a book event. And of course, we try to support not only the publishing of the books, we support also the promotion. So we give 70% of the costs of the book to the publishers back, but it's up to them how they decide to use this money. So if they would say, we pay for the translation, but we would like to use this money for the promotion of your author in this country, we say, of course, and we help him afterwards. We always try to know if the grant was successful, if we supported a good book, and if the book is good on the market. Unfortunately, to get this data, it's really difficult, and this is something what is annoying us. But the publishing houses don't want to share with us the numbers, but we always ask readers on the literary festivals, and we see the feedback as well. We always try to get the feedback about the translation. So we work with the universities in many countries, and we ask the students of Slavistic and Bohemistic to check the translation for us. I mean, not to find if every word responds to every word in the book, but we try to get the meaning if the translation is good for the country where it was published, if the people can understand the topic of the book. And as you can see, we always expect the subsequent promotion of the publishers, because we think this is not enough to publish a book. We really ask the publisher, are you ready to help us? So we will bring the author to your country. We organize one event, but we expect from you to organize the second one or another one. So this is the policy of us. And we can talk about it later. And I give the micro to my colleague from Estonia.
Hello, I am Ilvi from Estonia. Estonia is a really small country. We have just 1 million Estonians there. But we have our own liturgy, and we have Estonia Liturgy Center, and we have been supporting liturgy already 25 years. So it works. I can tell you that it's really important. When I started 25 years ago, then Estonian books it was 10 books per year sold to foreign publishers, published in foreign languages. And now it's 100 books per year. And it's all thanks to the continuous work with publishers, and of course with translators who are the key persons, of course, in this field. I would like to follow, Martin, your saying about this getting information about how the book is received when it's published in foreign market. So I have noticed that publishers are very eager to tell the numbers in case the book has been successful. So they come to you, they are laughing, they are happy, and they are telling how well it's sold and how many good events there were, and how it was received in press. In this case, that's not a problem. It's more difficult when the book sort of not failed, but when it did not as well as it was expected. And of course, if something sells very well, then they are eager to take another book to go on. So, but another thing is that you can also get an honest feedback, also critic, when you have a trustful relation with a foreign publisher. I think that's what we have been creating here, all of us. That's very important, that we meet those people in person, that we go to the book fairs, that we talk to them. And you can imagine if you have a relationship with someone already for 20 years, then that's not a problem, that they will tell you how the book was selling. But when the same question is asked by the foundation, then it can become problematic, because publishers don't like to be asked too many questions, especially not questions like this one. Okay, I'll give you a word to you.
Thank you, Ilvi. Thank you, Athena, for the presentation and for having us here today. I'm Julia Florit. I'm from Barcelona, from the Institut Ramon Llull, and we promote the Catalan literature abroad. I completely agree with my colleagues that our programs work. The Institute was founded 20 years ago as well, more or less like my colleague, and yeah, we have multiplied for 10 the translations that has been translated from Catalan to other languages all over the world. When we start with the program, one of the main reasons actually is we have this grant because we want that our authors, that as good as any other author in other country, don't suffer because of the translation cost. So the main reason was try to erase the translation cost into another language and to put our authors at the same level as a local author. So that was the very beginning. Of course, that works, and then we create other grants to support this. So we have actually a promotion grant only for promotion. So we have separated, not like the Czech, but we do translation grant from one side and the promotion. And then we also try to reach other genres. So we start also with illustrated books. So we have grants for illustration. And the last one we just put it on the map this year is a production grant, but only for theater and poetry, because these genres are more difficult to support. So this has happened during the last 20 years. So step by step, we are trying to reach all genres, all countries, and all domains. And again, agree, the guest of honor figure in Frankfurt, because it's one of the most important book fairs in the world, but also in the smallest book fairs, has worked really well to penetrate in those markets. Regarding the valuation, agree. It's really difficult to do it. It would be great to have more numbers. It's true that if we have a personal relationship with our publishers, it's easy to have this. But we feel weird to ask the publishers in a formal way all this information. So we don't do that neither. Then regarding the quality of the translations, something else already you mentioned, Athena, and so I'm jumping to another subject. It would be great to have the budget to evaluate all of them. We don't do that. We cannot do that. We believe on the critic reception. We believe on the publisher. We trust the publishers. We trust the translators. We work a lot with them. So we have a lot of special programs for translators, workshops, seminars, visits to Barcelona, residencies to Barcelona. But we thought that we needed to use something to evaluate this. So we created a prize. Actually, we have a translation prize, the best translation from the last year, for translators. And those who candidate for the prize, we evaluate those translations. So step by step, year by year, we are starting to have some of our translators evaluated, but it goes really, really slow. We need more time. And I think, may I just give back the word about the translators, that we need to jump to that.
I think that you all mentioned how important to have an overall strategy involving all actors, all book professionals, not just translators, but publishers, etc. And at the same time, how promotional activities like participation in book fairs or festivals constitute a pivotal part for this strategy to be successful. As I'm a translator myself, I think that the role of translators is pivotal, and they could actually act as cultural ambassadors between countries and cultures. So since their role is very important, what additional incentives we can provide so that they work better, they work more efficiently, and they are paid appropriately, because payment and additional incentives like residencies are, I think, very important as well. And of course, how important is to have an overall strategy and the participation, the cooperation with writers, literary agents, publishers, and translators. All of them, in order to have an overall promotional strategy that is effective.
Σας ευχαριστώ. Λοιπόν, αυτή όλη η συζήτηση δείχνει ακριβώς
This conversation shows exactly what the problems of the book market are in Greece. In a small country like Greece, we can't cooperate really well. We have had a problem in the connection of the Greek Cultural Institute with the book market. We will cover this field as well, though. And there is a need for better coordination with the publishers rather than with the translators, because it's easier with the translators. They have this direct interest. So the problem here has to do with the reflection of the Greek science and literature abroad. We have some difficulties here because each book market is different. For example, in one market, there might be an interest for poetry, in another one about theater. You can understand what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that the first market doesn't want theater, but there is a better interest. And it is not an even demand for what needs to be translated. Someone like Papadiamandis, a former writer or a contemporary one. We couldn't control all these parameters in the beginning, but we tried to. Someone had asked to us to translate the Bible, and we couldn't do this because it wasn't among our interests. I would like to add also that we have those book agents. They're not publishers, but they are something like intermediaries between the foreign and the local publisher and the translator, and with us, of course. There has been a gap in the legal framework here, which we have covered, and we can say that the agents can collaborate now and make some proposals that in the French market there is this need, for example. We try every time to be present in every important fair, like Frankfurt Book Fair. So we could say that it's a work in progress.
Because now you mentioned the agencies. They are, for us in our market, they are really important actually.
Okay.
They are the ones who are selling rights abroad. And some years ago, we created a grant for them actually to prepare samples and all the material in English or the language they believe that is needed, because if they want to go to a German market, they can do it also in German. So there is a grant for agencies, that can prepare a sample of the work, the biography, some press extracts, and they can send it to the publishers all over the world. So they are really important for us. And also together with some publishers that also sell the rights abroad. So they can apply for this grant. But also we try to meet them, all of them, every year, once at least, to listen to them, to know where are the markets that they are trying to go, if there is an interest in the Greek market, on the Asian market, or the German market. So we also are receptive to the needs of our agencies that are already traveling at some book fairs. I think that's important.
Of course, Martin.
You are lucky. I just want to say the opposite case. In my case, we have about 200 active writers, authors, and we have 3 literary agents. One is living in Netherlands, so all communication is online. So you can imagine that 50% of writers or authors say to me, please contact him and tell him that he should be my agent. The second one is connected to the one private publishing house in the Czech Republic. So there's a very clear strategy, who is my author. And the third one is living in Munich and speaking German. So as you can see, this is a completely different situation, and we would love to have agents, we don't have them. So for us is, for example, now a big task to teach the publishers before we go to the Frankfurt what to do. So we organize workshops and we try to learn them what does it mean to be an agent for my books and for my authors. So you can see a really completely different situations within the Europe.
I would like to say that both of you, Martin and Julia, you are very lucky because Estonia has no agents at all, zero. But actually, our center is acting as an agency, so we are doing the job of agents. What I wanted to say, agents?
Agents, translators, translators.
Oh.
Okay, think about it, and in the meantime, I go back to the translators and, well, to catch up the issue with the agents. Of course, publishers can sell their rights without an agent, but they should know how to do it. And in fact, sometimes I think that the publisher knows the author or should know the author much better than an agent who represents many authors or different publishing houses. So the publisher could be, if he's a good seller, could be the right person to really promote the book, the author, and so on, and can do the same work. So I think professionalization of publishers is a really big issue. And there are not, of course, big publishing houses have rights departments and several people working on that issue. That's not possible at each publishing house. But if there is one person looking at contracts, talking probably with other colleagues, even in smaller markets, it can work. And if not, there are also agents who work not only for one country or one language, but who represent different authors, and you can meet many of them at different book fairs. Of course, in Frankfurt, we have the biggest literary agent center, and there you will find for sure agents who may be interested in the one or other author.
There is another issue. Foreign rights are not always owned by or represented by an agent or a publishing house. In Estonian case, the writers themselves own the rights very often. There are only very few authors represented by the publishers. So I don't know how is the situation in Greece. So your publishing houses are those who also have the foreign rights. So actually, that's a usual situation, isn't it?
As Greek Lit, we have got a partnership with publishers and translators, and of course with authors as well, because authors usually wish their books to be translated. It's not something that they are indifferent towards. However, all of those factors are not presented as it happens in your countries in a form of a union or association, for example. There are many different associations and they function in different ways. This is a very general description of mine. I'm not intending to say whether one union is doing the job better than the other, but in any case, this whole situation makes the work of Greek Lit even more complex. However, we are doing our best to face all of those difficulties. It is part of the challenges that we are called to face.
Besides, Martin, that you have this problem that you need to help your agencies or your publishers to learn that. Another project that we have that it works really well, because not all the publishers can go to book fairs. Not all the publishers can go to Frankfurt or London or the biggest book fairs. So there is another initiative that it's really helpful, that is bring the international publishers to Catalonia. So we have these fellowship programs that some of our associates have, that we invite the international publishers to come to the city, and that way they can meet the smallest publishers that are not traveling usually, and that these smallest independent publishers, they publish really, really good books, but nobody's selling them abroad. So it's a good way also to bring the internationals to your house, and I think this worked quite well. Of course, it's a long-term strategy because you cannot invite a lot of people at the same time, but year by year, you know, that you have this network of international publishers that has been there in your territory.
Yeah, this is a very nice idea. Excuse me. This is a very good idea, and we're trying this, for example, in this month, next week. There's the Prague Book Fair, and the guests of honor this year are the German-speaking countries regarding an hosting Project 26, so Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. And we have about 60 publishers coming to Prague, and we have a special program for them, so we believe in success. But as you heard, we have only 3 agents. There's a hidden strategy, so the translators are our hidden agents, because the experience shows us that they really understand the sense of the language, the sense of the topics, and they are the best for selling those books to the publishers, because they always speak with the heart, you know. They love this culture, they love this language, and they love the story, so they are passionate about it, and they say to publishers, you have to do it. And this is something that helps us a lot. So translators are for us literary agents, and we work with them. So for example, in the Leipzig Book Fair in March this year, we invited them, and we had, let's say, about 40 publishers there from Germany, and translators introduce their wishes, you know, books they would love to see on the market. And the same procedure choose the European Union in Guadalajara, being the guest of honor in end of November and beginning December the last year. And every country got the possibility to invite 1 translator to the Spanish, and this translator could introduce 3 books, and they are really happy because we introduced 3 books, and 1 of them is already sale, so to the Mexican publishers. So this is something what I think has the future. So for us, those hidden literary agents work very well.
Definitely, the role of translators is crucial, but there are many ways to work with your translators, and our secret is that there's a very popular thing we have been organizing in every 4 years in Estonia, and this is gathering all translators of Estonian literature to Estonia. So we organize a seminar that lasts for 5 days in Estonia, and this is something that translators are really keen of. They are really waiting that it happens again. So that's a very, very important event for them. And when they are there, then they get, of course, lectures and everything. But the most important thing is that we invite many, many authors to this event. And the authors, they just don't come, but they can stay with translators and stay 1 or 2 nights, so they can actually have the whole evening, sauna evenings together, and at the same time, so they eat together, they talk together, and they know each other. So authors and translators become friends. And this is something that is very, very good when we are speaking about promotion of literature, because if there is this kind of relationship, then this is so much encouraging also for translators. They are not interested just in a book, but it's already an author, a person behind all of it. So this is something I would really suggest to do, to organize seminars for translators, really big seminars. And translators, they are working mostly alone. I'm a translator myself as well. I don't do much translating, but
It's
but
very-
they
very
need to meet
solitary.
each other.
It's a solitary work.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And this is the possibility for them to meet each other, to be together, to know each other, and to talk about literature, the books they are translating or they have been translating. Or so this is actually a very, very important thing to do, I think.
Yeah, I agree totally. And a few years ago, the Frankfurt Book Fair, focused on translation and the figure of the translator. Many years ago, we had a translation center. Then, for many years, we didn't, and then we started again. Having, of course, talks related to all the issue of translation, related to artificial intelligence, to other issues important to them. Also subtitling for films and voice-over issues and things like that. For us, it was really a huge issue, because translators from everywhere in the world reacted in such a positive way that we did catch up the issue on other conferences where we acted worldwide, talking about the same things as in Frankfurt, but related to the local markets there. I did a conference in Mexico, and there were, of course, the Association of Mexican Translators, and we did the same. We do the same every year. We participate also in Argentina at the book fair, and Ilvi has been there also a few years ago, where we have roundtables on translation and translation funding. So it's really important to support the translators, to give them more visibility. You may have heard that a few years ago, the name of the translator should be also on the cover of the book. So not only the author, also the translator is important. And by now, it's a person who is not very visible. And I learned that in the US, they have been starting to include also the translator and the advance money for rights in the contracts. There are cases already where the translator is inside these contracts, and that's great. That's one of the important steps for translators.
This is a very good example. I just wanted to react on my colleague from Estonia. We tried to do something like that once, and we have a very small office, and that was too big for us. Because, I mean, to manage to deal with 200 translators and 150 authors, that was really
this is
difficult.
advantage of being even smaller than you are.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have about 100 translators, 80 show up. We can manage that. There are 3 of us.
So we find another way, and that could be another example how you can work. We organize every year an award competition for emerging translators around the world. We cooperate with Czech culture centers and with the embassies. And we always bring a sample of a new book on the Czech market, which won some award. And we offered to the emerging translators around the world to translate about 15 pages. And then the embassies and Czech culture centers organize a jury. And this jury is, the members of these juries are always professional translators to the language of the country. And they choose always one winner, and we invite those winners from those countries to the Czech Republic. Let's say it's every July about 40 people, 40 winners. And they have in Prague a special culture program, and they meet the author of this sample of this book, then translate it. And afterwards they go to Moravia, because Moravia is another part of the Czech Republic, very different one. You probably know Czechs beer, but Moravia wine. This is the first very important thing. And Prague, this is really Bohemia. Brno, this is monarchy, right? This is Vienna, this is Habsburgs. This is only 60 minutes away from Vienna. So this is a completely different part of the world. So they spend 2 days in Prague, they go to Moravia, and in Moravia, they visit some wonderful village or some wonderful small cities. They drink all the time the wine, and they talk between each other, and they have some workshops organized from us. And this is very good because it's, and of course, we connect them with the professional translators as well. And this is very successful project. It's called Susanna Roth Award. Susanna Roth was a very good translator from Czech to German, and she lived abroad in Germany during the communist time. And Susanna Roth was also a pioneer regarding the professional associations of translators, etc. So this is another example, and it's very, very successful. But as you probably heard, there is very important the cooperation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and with the diplomacy, culture diplomacy, because without the help of the embassies and without the help of the Czech culture centers, we couldn't do that. But at the very first beginning, they were worried. You know, they were like, oh, another work. But in the meantime, we do it for 10 years right now. And in the meantime, it's a very popular project, and they like it because they discover new translators and they can work with them. The embassy, you know, has sometimes also a lack of people who speaks the language. So it even helps in the practical matters. So this is the reason why the Minister of Foreign Affairs agreed to cooperate with us.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's a really good idea, Ilvi. That's true. We have had this idea on the table because we have seen other countries, our colleagues, that have done that, and we wish we could do it. So I hope in the future we'll do it as big as you do, all of them. But we have a small version of that, and these days actually we have 12 translators in Barcelona from the same author. So we have invited all the translators of an author to spend 1 week in Barcelona to meet other authors, to meet agencies, publishers. So it's more or less a small version of what are you doing. And I agree with Martin that we were saying before that the translators are kind of agents for us as well, actually, even if we have already agencies, because we also have a project, a grant for them that if they're interested in translating a modern classic, really focus only on modern classics, they can ask us for a grant for make a sample of this book and send it to the publishers abroad. So we also use them as a agent because they are really important for us. We try to have a lot of projects and programs for them because without them, our literature wouldn't be translated. So it's really important.
So as this conversation reaches its conclusion, I would say that the challenges are maybe different, but the issues at hand are much or less the same, and the prospects ahead is a question of cooperation, of exchange of know-how, and I think these panels help to this end. So I think we could address our audience and ask if they have any questions to ask, and then, yes, Martin.
By the way, we represent all NLIT because we all share this know-how and we...
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. I'm doing something wrong because they spoke in Spanish. So, you see, this is the network. We speak many languages, we don't understand each other, but we try to show that we are really professional. So, of course, we understand each other. So, it's very important for us to share, you know, those experience. And we have leaflets of NLIT here. And you can find there all information about what we provide, how we support publishers, how we support translators, what we do for translators. And it's very easy to contact us in 25 countries. How many we are right now? About 25.
28, I think.
Yeah.
28.
Yeah. And in a special Czech case when I'm talking. The Czech Literary Center have here some prospects regarding the residencies for authors and for translators, also the information about the grant for the translation of literature. So you can contact me afterwards if you are interested to hear more. And my colleagues are ready to promote, the Catalans, the Estonians, and the Greek support.
That's great. Thank you all for this panel and this experience.